You're looking for a director of marketing that doesn't just manage campaigns, but actually builds the machines behind them. That's what I do. So in this marketing playbook, I've broken it down into 3 different methods. These methods are what I've utilized in order to help brands scale. First, content engine. This content engine is something that it's not, I'm just gonna make the piece of content and then we're gonna shoot for the best when it comes to content calendars and trying to get promotional stuff. No, this is gonna be a baked out plan that we will shoot and have production on certain days with run of shows and knowing, hey, this is what we're gonna shoot. These are the objectives for the shoot and the type of content. What are we capturing? Are we capturing content that is like top of funnel, middle funnel, or bottom of funnel? One of the best pieces of advice I've ever been given from a mentor when it comes to filming was edit and film with a purpose. So if there's no purpose behind it besides just brand awareness, great. That's brand awareness, that's top of funnel. But if you're trying to convert customers, or you're trying to convert leads, that's a middle of funnel. When you've actually converted them and you have that brand loyalty, that's the bottom of funnel content. What is the content that's gonna entice people to want to continue to come back? Or is there incentives for them to continue to come back? So in reality, the director of marketing needs to really build and think through what this content machine could look like and how to implement it from day one. Paid media and remarketing. Paid media gets a bad rep. I like to use it as a second step, never as a first, because unless you've built out a plethora of organic content and it can be seen on the website, it can be seen on all the social channels. Paid media is essentially a remarketing technique of knowing where they're at in the funnel and what are they trying to buy, what are they trying to do, and having content that resonates with that stage of the journey. That could be email blasts, that could get email lists, so acquiring email lists and putting them into segments. The last part is CRM workflows and processes. What are the benchmarks that we're trying to measure against when we're building these systems out? These systems can also go for in physical locations with teams and members when it comes to marketing at those locations. And then there's also processes for just online. How do we upload an image? How do we tell the brand story and make sure that we're actually checking it before a blog post goes up and it actually is not referring to the brand? So having all of those little processes, it is taxing, but getting those systems in place, this will set the team up for success in the future. Also, I have automation down here. What are the specific automations that you're trying to eliminate the mundane task or the taxing work that doesn't require a lot of brain power? In order to scale a brand, it's not just the back-end performance. It's about empowering your community to be the brand. So at the national level, this is all types of creators and influencers, more about brand awareness and what we're trying to hit as a company when it comes to our tone, our style, our approach, and who are we for? What audiences are we for? We're not gonna hit everyone. Now with social media, it's not based off the follower count, it's based off what is the content actually saying and who is it resonating with? And if it is resonating, it's gonna get shared. What content are they actually creating and how consistent of the content that they're creating is impactful for the end user? Why don't we go after the audiences that we know would resonate with us, grow their trust and their understanding of the brand, and then they become amplifiers of the brand, telling their friends and sharing on their pages. And that's where you be able to do the spider web effect. What I like to use is the analogy of like the one person that's just standing in the street trying to get everyone's attention and they're just yelling at the top of their lungs. Yeah, you might be able to make out a little bit of what they're saying if you're far away, but you take 10, 20, 30 people all saying and yelling the same thing at the same time, you're gonna hear it because it's been amplified. So going into month 1, we would audit the systems, align on the goals, and then build a framework for new brand moments online and in person. So with audit the systems, what are the current systems? What do they look like? Are they working effectively? Is there any ones that we can build upon, or do we need to start from scratch? Align on goals. What are the goals? This is something to where I would sit down with the leadership team and talk through what are the brand values, what are something that we can stick to that I can then take on the marketing side and say, this is how we show up on socials, this is how we show up at events, this is how we show up at our locations. What is that brand theme, that tone, that style? That's where I'm gonna be able to say really align on the goals, but it's also aligning on the brand. Build framework for new brand moments. So this is something that when there's activations throughout the year or events or pop-ups that we wanna be a part of, how do we announce partnerships? How do we announce new team members? How do we celebrate clients? Month 2, launch content. Right now on social media, this is like a little bit of an insider tip just because I'm always checking out all of the social media trends, what's the latest and greatest on tech. And right now, content that's resonating, that can be a form of series of videos. So think TV, think Seinfeld or Friends, great shows. All of those things we watched as kids are now coming back to fruition, but on social media. TV is not gonna be growing, but the TV interface and the framework is definitely gonna be growing, but online through digital platforms like TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. This is where the future of television and the future of media is going. Month 3, it's a little bit farther over. Scale workflows. So these are the workflows that we've put in place from month 1 and kind of talked through the teams and the marketing department and what infrastructure looks like. So now we're able to scale it. So bringing on more videographers, bringing on content specialists, bringing on digital marketers, art graphic designers, like what does that look like? This is where the out of the box is you pretty much, I'm working with you to build this. Hopefully this has provided a lot of value. My closing thoughts are more around the culture and what are we trying to create as a brand within this business? What does that culture look like as an internal team and what does that culture look like as a brand to the audience? And so for myself, my culture is making sure that leadership meets execution. I'm not just telling people what to do or saying, hey, this is the best approach. This is me actually executing on what I'm saying and then making sure the team in marketing is set up for success based off of what I'm actually executing, not just delegating and telling them what to do. The systems need to make sure that it's speed, effective for not myself, but for the rest of the team and anyone implementing the marketing. If I'm the marketing director, honestly, and this is just my approach, if something goes wrong within marketing, that's on me, even if I didn't do the task. Because I've been told from other mentors of mine, when you're in a business and you're at a top of the business and you're leading a charge, ultimately, if there's an issue, it comes back to you. You have to take ownership. And so I will take ownership. And if things are not working, that's on me because I'm not being effective with my communication, with my systems that I'm putting in place, or just overall team camaraderie. And am I actually being a good team player? Systems, leadership, execution, that's my culture. That's what I like to pride myself on. I like to have fun, and I also like a good challenge.